Bob, good morning. How are you?
Hey, not
Sorry.
bad, Sable. I'm glad you were able to take this call. Something that came up at the feast that I want to talk about or ask you about.
Okay.
I was
Sure.
I was overhearing some of the Ausla talking about some sort of plan or project that involved passing the tome around to people.
Well,
Um, and,
yeah.
and and I even heard people in other houses being mentioned in the rota. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, there is. It's a plan to deter assassins. We figured if they didn't have an idea of exactly where the tome was or any kind of sense of schedule, then there would be no way they could anticipate who might have it and ambush them. There's a few people. Let's see.
All right. Well, before you go any further, I'm sorry. I can't be any less blunt, but what were you thinking?
What do you mean what I was thinking?
The tome respects power. The tome expects the person who won it to claim it and cherish it and perhaps even use it. All right. The tome does not appreciate being passed around like a child's toy.
And how do you know this exactly?
Well, our house has held the tome before. It's been many, many, many years. But the libraries are full of stories like this. In fact, it's how we lost the tome years ago.
Well, that would have been really nice to know, Bob. That would have really helped me out. You know, I've been asking for months for the different houses to do library exchanges. I've been willing to open up the Lapin Library for an exchange. I made that offer to you. You ignored me outright. You didn't say a word.
Well,
if you want to have shit like that, inform me.
We didn't ignore you. First of all, we're still busy rebuilding the swamp after last November.
I know that.
The birds coming in kind of altered the priorities of some. One of the reasons we haven't opened up our library yet, to be perfectly frank with you, is we're not sure what's in it. We just in fact the other day opened up, there was a loose rock in the wall. It got knocked down. There was a hole behind it. We opened up the wall. We found a whole chamber. As near as we can tell, there's 1,000 years of tome lore in there. But we can't read the damn stuff. It's in dinoglyphics. It's a language that our house lost years ago.
Safa doesn't even have any access.
We're working on translating. Safa has nothing in her translators to help, although she's working with us and trying. And of course, to make matters worse, it's not like we can carry it out and pass it around and spread the work because
valid.
It's on a wall. Back then, yeah, it wasn't written in books on paper. We didn't do paper very well. Paper and swamps don't work too well together.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
It's either etched in the stone walls or at worst painted on the stone walls. So,
I don't know all that's in the Lapin Library either. The thing's kind of like the Library of Alexandria, right? It's like nobody
you've
had a
been
filing
collecting
system.
Stuff from all over. Yeah, I mean,
no, it's been in my family for generations. Sometime back in the Renaissance, when they started doing the purges, they keyed it to a key, right? So that and an extra dimensional space so that it could be carried around at a moment's notice if need be. But I'll open it up, Bob. I don't know what's all in there either, but God damn it.
We just locked. We apparently, our ancestors apparently just built stone walls to
which I guess was effective,
to mark
considering
it off.
It's still there.
Well, I think it was actually their way of preserving it too. Again, the swamp is not the best environment for archaeology.
Organic materials, yeah.
Paleontology, yes. Archaeology, no.
Yeah. I can see that. Oh, Bob, I wouldn't have done this thing if you'd told me this.
Look, I kind of get it. Attitudes are different today. The way we look at things is different today. I understand you might think, you might have assumed that the demonstrating the power of allying the houses and getting them all to work toward the same goal would be good enough. But again, from the very little bit that we've been able to read, that ain't going to fly for the tome.
You were right.
You need to grasp the tome with both hands, and you need to hold on to it. I understand it's been difficult. But if we don't want to lose the tome, if we, the realms, don't want to lose the tome, you need to step up.
Step up. Yeah, okay. No, you know what? I'm going to swallow that. You don't deserve that.
I don't mean to say you haven't. I mean, again, it's just, the tome is an ancient artifact.
You were right. And I wish you had
tougher back then. Yeah.
I really wish you had told me this in the first place. You're right. It didn't get it. It was pushing. That's why we had to do this goddamn ritual. Why I'm so tired. I found that in one of the few books I had that had anything useful at all on the tome in our library. I've been looking for anything I could find, and it was just sheer good luck that I had found this book like a week before this all started to come out. But I mean, this is apparently part of the reason why everyone's been, suffering from all the different ailments that have made it difficult for us to do our literamancy and difficult for us to write. It hit the power writers first, right? And frankly, I'm in the power writers now. I'm kind of a backbencher there. I'm not the best, but I qualify, and it was hitting me too. And I guess I wasn't, I wondered, I figured that it was just the tome making me tired because it's so heavy and so much of a strain. But, I think it might get it now. We did the ritual.
Well, is it still sleeping? I know. I heard a little about the ritual, and I heard that the intent was to put the tome to rest.
Yeah.
As long as it stays resting, you might be fine, but it's going to wake up. And if it does wake up, you need to be its master.
Since we did the ritual, it's been lighter. I have less headaches. I'm sleeping more. It's clearly responded.
Refresh and charge yourself now while you can, because if it wakes up, it will demand its version of power and leadership from you. And that may not, and I do not envy you having to juggle its version of power and leadership with what the realms expect in this day and age.
We're having a conversation about it, the Tome and I, at this point. And I think I may be winning it around to the point of view that there are different types of power. And some of those power types are gentler, I guess. But I never would have even tried that if I'd known this, Bob. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have taken such a risk. But now
I will apologize for not having had the foresight to, or for presuming that I'll admit I kind of presumed you knew better. I mean, this is why we fight.
I know?
This is why we fight for the tome. It's why the houses have fought for the tome for thousands of years.
Yeah, clearly,
we kind of lost track of that. I think. I mean, it's great that we have this more friendly spirit among ourselves. A lot less bloodshed that way. A lot less nastiness. But that's not the history that the tome came from.
Well, maybe we can teach it a better way. Well, I was actually inspired by you. Do you know that?
We need to try.
But the Grand Alliance. It wouldn't have occurred to me if you and Kahuna hadn't combined your forces and worked together so effectively. And I thought to myself, why are we fighting each other? We'd do much better if we work together. And that was why I was talking about sharing libraries.
I don't disagree. Look at us in the burbs now.
Yeah, you guys are definitely. That was a very good move. You guys are doing really well together. I'm really happy to see the rifts starting to heal. That's excellent. It's excellent.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever merge again, but we may not need to, you know.
Maybe not. Maybe not. And you guys have different needs now, too. Yeah. I want you to extend my thanks to Sapa for me, because she assisted in the ritual. We would have told people about it beforehand, but the conditions of the ritual required that anybody who found out about it had to join it. So we didn't.
Yeah, that's a trick. That sounds like a trick written by the book.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. Prove you're tough enough.
Yeah.
But we did it, Bob. We proved it.
That's good.
We not only made the requirement for the litromantic energy generated, we kind of blew the walls off.
Well, if the tome created that ritual as a trap or as a test, and if it created it as an unpassable test, and you passed it nonetheless, that might be enough for it. But we're not going to know for sure.
You're right.
Yeah, right. I do. I have one other thing that I would like to talk about a little bit.
Sure.
Another little concern that came up, and again, the feast just kind of really brought it to light, and this is me coming out in advance because it has to do with one of my own.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
ECC Books has been behaving a little oddly lately.
Yeah, I noticed that myself at the filk off. He was just quiet and
hollow is the word I'm using. All right,
that's a good word.
There's something missing, and I'm not sure what. What really worries me is ECC is our house bard. And as our house bard, he has spent more time in our archives than anybody else. At
Interesting.
least, maybe not in the past couple of weeks as we've been trying to actually see what's in the archives. But
you think there was
some time before that, that's kind of where he lived when he wasn't out and doing his stuff. And
do you think he stumbled on something in there
that's possible?
Had some kind of fell effect.
That's possible, and I don't know. Again, I mean, the tome is not the only literomantic artifact.
No, I'm sure. Well, I mean, the key to my library would be considered a literomantic artifact.
There could be lesser rituals and spells written on the walls that he perhaps translated, or perhaps didn't need to translate. I mean, who knows? There might be curses on the wall as well. I think we need to keep an eye out on him.
Okay.
What scares me most is if he were to go the way of Erin, and AG. He will go that way with much more knowledge of what the tome is and what it can do than either of the Night Monarchs that we've had to face in our time.
Or at least it's possible, yeah.
It's possible. Well, I would have to assume it.
Yeah. Right? No, you're right. You're right.
It's dangerous not to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Thank you for the cautionary note.
So keep an eye on them. We're kind of watching them. There's not much we can do, but
I'll pass that along to the Owsla. Yeah.
I don't think he's a danger yet. But forewarned is forearmed, I believe is the phrase.
Yep. We believe that very strongly. It's kind of one of our strong suits. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer.
Well, thanks for reaching out.
Apologies for the bit of a rant at the beginning. Apologies for
me too
not getting the information to you sooner. Again, I kind of took it for granted that not just you personally, but that every house leader would know from their house history.
We all have different information, and so much of it was lost, Bob. If you'd like, maybe I'll come. I don't know. Maybe now with this whole ECC thing, maybe you might have different thoughts about it. But if you're willing, maybe sometime in the next, couple of weeks or so, I'll come pay a visit to the swamp,
You're
and
more
I
than
will
welcome.
bring the Lapin library, and maybe we can go through and see if we can find information.
And I will open the walls of our caves for you to peruse as well. And perhaps there's something in your library that can help us translate ours.
Yeah, we can hope, right?
We need a Dinetta stone or something,
Right. Well, there are tablets in there, clay tablets and stuff, and stone too. We might be able to find such a thing.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks for reaching out to me either way, Bob. I'm sorry for snapping at you too.
Sounds good. All right. Take it easy. Have a good day.
You too. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.